I will be honest with you, I don't remember what the music sounds like behind my opening. I haven't listened to it in so long. I always think of it as that, is it a Creed song? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know who sings that either. But that song I remember. That's the song I think of when the openers play. Good morning, everyone watching in Japan. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon and good evening watching in the United States of America. And for everyone watching in Australia, happy Easter, I'm guessing. Hi, Todd. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Todd. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie. Congratulations, Stephanie, on being first. 2 of the judges are here today, even though it's a Sunday. So that's nice to see. I think it's because the AC is working now at the studio, and they didn't want to pay for it at home. I get it. I understand. Okay, that's what it is. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. So we're going to watch a couple of things today. See, I have a new outfit on. I kind of like it. Kind of jiggly, because it's cut mid-sleeve so that you can see a little skin as well. So I'm clothed. I've got the cuffs. You see the cuffs? But then it allows some breathing room, which is nice for a hot day like today. So we're going to watch a little bit of Liz Cheney on Fox News Sunday, and then I'm excited. Our friend Kevin McCarthy was on Maria Bartiromo this morning. I saw, so I got to watch that because it's always a fascination with Englishing happening. Kevin McCarthy speak. So we'll watch that. And here's Adam Kinzinger. He's like, I'm nailing this. Yeah, I am. I got this. And I'm retiring because I'm one of the good ones. Adam, reconsider, buddy. Run as an independent. Okay. Hi, Christine. Christine says, I joined you guys randomly a couple weeks ago, and I've been looking for another session. Oh, well, here you are. And if you're on the YouTubes, which it looks like you are, just subscribe to my channel, youtube.com/KevinlyFather. Hit subscribe, and then you can click the little bell that comes up, and if you do that, then you get notifications or some such. I don't know. People seem to find me here, so ask them, and they'll tell you. Let's get right into it. Any news of the day? By the way, happy Sunday. And again, Australia, happy, I'm going to go with Wednesday. And New Zealand, Thursday. Thursday 30. And if you have something else to report in the chat, I'll try and catch it, and we'll go from there. If I can get the headphones on over this hat. And there they are. For those of you not in the industry, I call these my cans. And if you've worked with me, for some reason they call them my cannots. I don't know why that is. Here's a little bit of Fox News Sunday for you.
Fail to act during the 187 minutes between leaving the ellipse and telling the mob to go home. He chose not to act.
Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger in Thursday's prime.
And Stephen Colbert's joke was, and that was a review of Home Alone 2.
Primetime January 6th committee hearing laying out the argument that President Trump ignored pleas from his inner circle to condemn the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Joining us now from Wyoming is the vice chair of that committee, Congresswoman Liz Cheney. Yep. Welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Thanks, Brett. Great to be with you.
Congressman, you said last hearing, quote, the
Congressperson. It's not a man. Come on, Brett.
Dam has begun to break. What's the newest, most surprising information you've uncovered or?
You know what? They're so used to it. There's not even a reaction. And I actually like that. That they're not correcting. Yeah, I know. You're just a congressman. That's fine. I'm not even saying congressman, Liz Cheney. It's fine.
Discovered as vice chair of the January 6th committee.
We don't say personer. It's manure. It's fine. It's okay. It's asexual.
Well, certainly we've seen over the course of the last several weeks, and reaching back a little bit before that, a real increase in the amount of information and the numbers of people who are coming forward. I think that certainly Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony had a lot.
Yeah, Cassidy Hutchinson was great. Obviously an actor, though. I mean, she was Cassidy in the part. It was Cassidy. It was Cassidy. But Cassidy, that might be her nickname. I don't know.
Lot to do with that, but even before that, the reality is that the committee.
Marcy, I know it's proper to use the general title, but it's also fine if you don't. Let's move on with our lives.
Has collected so much in terms of documents and in terms of testimonial evidence that the real challenge for us is to make sure that. That's
not Cassidy Hutchinson. That is was it Sarah Matthews? Matthew? Why is it? Because it was Matcher Penner. I mean, it's the Battle of the Matthews. I think it was Sarah Matthews, right?
We're providing that to the American people in a way that helps to organize and convey the threat that the nation faced, and that we're putting it into our process to come up with legislative recommendations to help make sure nothing like that ever happens again.
What's the ultimate goal of the committee? Is it to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't ever become president again, or is it to move forward, lay out a...
Well, how about getting to the bottom of what happened? Revealing the truth to the American people. Is that not enough of a goal?
Case prod the Justice
Hi, babe.
Justice Department to move forward with charges.
Well, the goal of the committee and our obligation is our legislative purpose of looking at whether or not, for example, we need enhanced criminal penalties for the kind of activity Donald Trump engaged in when he attempted to pressure the Georgia officials, or, for example, whether we might need enhanced criminal penalties for something like the supreme dereliction of duty that we saw from President Trump on January 6th. So that's our obligation, that's our responsibility. This was a fundamental assault and an attack on our democracy. We had a president who sent a mob that he knew was armed to the Capitol to attack and invade while we were counting electoral votes, delayed the count of those votes, and while the attack was underway, it is unquestionable that he did not tell them to go home for hours and investigate.
Now they're doing hours. They heard me on Thursday. I'm like, 187 minutes. Nah, just go with 3 hours. Over 3 hours sounds like more than 187 minutes. In my head. I don't know. In Australia, it's probably something different. I think they have metric minutes down there.
That attack and what led to it, and what we need to do legislatively to make sure it never happens again is our fundamental responsibility.
So do you believe?
So there is a belief, because of the checks and balances inherent in the Constitution, that the legislature is supposed to act as a check on the executive branch and on the judicial branch, because they can impeach both of those. But is there oversight? Now, of course, there are oversight committees within Congress, but the Republicans' current argument is, no, you can't do anything about this. It's executive branch. You can only be legislative. Only the executive branch can do oversight for some reason. And there's an argument to be made there, although that hasn't been the case throughout history. But what they're saying there is, like, we have to investigate this so we know what legislation we need to enact, which is fine. It's an easy and a simple argument to make, and it's a correct argument.
That former President Trump should face charges?
I believe that's a decision the Justice Department will make. I believe that the former president is responsible for a more significant breach of his constitutional duty than any president in our history. I think.
And here's what you want to do. You want to subpoena him and Mike Pence immediately, because their testimony is absolutely crucial to determining what happened that day in order to make legislation so that it doesn't happen again. Why? Because they will refuse to cooperate. And as we just found out with Steve Bannon, well, sorry, that doesn't work. You're going to be found guilty pretty quickly. Now, the president has the argument of executive privilege, and theoretically, that entire time he could claim was executive privilege. So you have the judge appoint a taint team and decide what is and what isn't. Executive privilege, by the way, not in the Constitution. It's just a notion that Nixon came up with.
That what you've seen, and remember, our testimony has come primarily from Republican witnesses, from Republicans in Donald Trump's Justice Department, from Republicans in his campaign, from Republicans in his White House, people who have come forward to say that he attempted to overturn an election, that the election was not stolen, that there was no evidence of fraud sufficient to overturn the election. Even Rudy Giuliani, his lawyer, made clear that he did not have sufficient evidence to overturn the election. It simply wasn't stolen. And Donald Trump has preyed on the patriotism of honorable and good people all across this country with the big lie. And
over and over and over again, to the tune of multiple millions of dollars. Interesting cases going on in Florida. What happened in Florida was a few years back, they passed a law saying that yes, felons could vote, which is pretty common in the United States, once they've served their time. But in Florida, you also have to pay whatever criminal penalties or restitution is owed to the victims or to the court or the court fees or whatever. So basically, it's similar to a poll tax. And I don't believe it's actually gone to the Supreme Court to be battled there. Now, what happened is that I think 10 people total who had felonies against them inquired with their local precinct, can I vote? Because I heard that felons can vote again. And they were told, yeah, sure. And they voted. And now they're facing additional felonies because they hadn't paid their full restitution. Well, how much is it? In some of the cases, it's hard to tell because every county has its own little rules. So these 10 guys have 10 different rule sets to go by. And very few counties actually have oh, okay, how much do you owe? Hold on, let me pull that up. What's your name? Kyle Rittinger? You owe $27,642. It doesn't exist. So how you're supposed to pay these poll tax and not know what the poll tax is a question. But technically, they committed voter fraud. And the article that I did see, that particular felon voted for Donald Trump. The other guy didn't reveal for whom he voted, but the one who was all about it was Donald Trump.
It's very important for people to understand that it's simply not true.
The Attorney General seems reluctant. This is what he said this week.
There is a lot of speculation about what the Justice Department is doing, what it's not doing, what our theories are, what our theories aren't. We have to do two things. We have to hold accountable every person who is criminally responsible for trying to overturn a legitimate election, and we must do it in a way filled with integrity and professionalism.
So do you have...
That's really just one thing. What was the other thing? Did he say another thing? He did say that no one is above the law.
Any indication the DOJ is moving forward?
Well, I think what...
But he's not going to announce that. That's not the way it works. In the exception of the case against Hillary Clinton, for whatever reason, which couldn't have been politically motivated, right? They don't give out information like that. But in Hillary's case, oh yeah, we're in fact, we're even going to have a press conference, and we're going to tell people why we think we're not going to prosecute. Even though she was neglectful. But she wasn't negligent. She wasn't, what's the phrase? Grossly negligent. She was negligent, but she wasn't grossly negligent. People don't understand the legal terms.
What the Attorney General said there is exactly right. And I think that it's very clear from what's available publicly that they're engaged in, it's the largest criminal investigation in U.S. history. You've also seen publicly indications that what they're engaged in is quite broad. You've seen Jeff Clark's phone seized and John Eastman's phone seized. You've seen a focus, some of which is public and some isn't. But the Justice Department's obligation is to follow the facts and the evidence, and it's a solemn obligation that they must pursue, no matter whether that means following, the facts and the evidence with respect to the President of the United States or with respect to those people who invaded the Capitol. But let me also say, Brett, that Judge Carter, a federal judge, has already indicated and has already ruled that it's more likely than not that President Trump violated at least two criminal statutes with respect to his efforts to get Vice President Pence to illegally refuse to count electoral votes. And so I think we've already seen a basis for that.
A couple quick specifics. When do you expect to hear from Tony Ornato, then President Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff?
Just pause on that for a second. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Stephanie sent me some PayPal. Yay! Says, thanks for the live stream, Spilling Covfefe, and the hearings. I wish it could be more. Hey, I'm doing a lot already. Oh, you mean you wish your donation could be? Yeah, no, that's, yeah. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it, Stephanie. Thank you for all you do.
Now, Secret Service training official Bobby Engel, President Trump's lead Secret Service agent, under oath. Is there a holdup here? Do you expect to hear testimony from them?
I like that my chin is silver sometimes when I wear this outfit. Let's see. That's my silver mane. Because I'm getting older or distinguished, depending on how you look at it. And I look at it like this. Like Charles Nelson Riley in the center square. There was a congressman on the January 6th Unselect Committee who was just asked today, and I'm trying to remember who it was, and I can't, so we're going to move on. But the point is, this particular congressperson, was it Adam? It was somebody. Anyway, it was Adam, or it was Jamie, or it was one of them, and I just saw it on ASIN's page. I could find out, but the point is, they were asked, are the Secret Service agents? Why not just ask the Secret Service agents in the car, and are they being uncooperative? And his response wasn't no, they weren't being cooperative. It was, the door is always open. They can come if they want to testify. We're happy to have them testify. Cassidy Hutchinson testified under oath in front of millions of people, and meanwhile, it's all just, you want to talk about hearsay on the other side, third parties, or perhaps even the people themselves, unknown sources, not going on the record and saying, oh yeah, it didn't happen that way. But the point is, all of what Cassidy Hutchinson said, or Cassidy if you're a friend, said isn't discredited because of one gesture of the president, whether he made that gesture or not.
I do. We have already heard testimony from them. I expect that we will again. Mr. Ornato has retained private criminal defense counsel, and we've...
Because why wouldn't you? I mean, you're in the Secret Service, and your job is to protect the president. Of course you need a personal lawyer for that.
Seen that also with respect...
Tony Ornato, by the way, was not in the Secret Service on January 6th. He was hired by Trump as a deputy in charge of security, or deputy in charge of deputy NSA, whatever he was. So he was a Trump employee. He was an employee of the White House directly for Trump at that point. He was not in the Secret Service. He was, and this is rare that this happens, he was given a waiver by the Secret Service to work directly for Trump, not to protect Trump for the Secret Service, but to do Trump's bidding, basically, which is highly unusual. And many people looked at it at the time as an ethics violation. I don't know why. I mean, really, that's all you could look at it as. But it's like, hey, guys, it's the Secret Service. They know what they're doing. And then they deleted all of their texts from January 6th and 7th.
To one other Secret Service agent, I think that's significant. But we do...
I thought it was Tony Orlando, Marcy.
Anticipate not just them, certainly them, but largely what's happened at the Secret Service. And I say this as someone who has huge respect for the Secret Service. I was protected by them for 8 years. But the extent to which
yeah, her dad was vice president, so she was assigned Secret Service.
There are no text messages from the relevant period of time, the extent to which we have not had the kind of cooperation that we really need to have. Those are all things the committee is going to be looking at in more detail.
I really do hope they're out there somewhere. But then when we find them, if they're bad, what do you do? Like, oh, turns out a bunch of people in the Secret Service were Trumpers. Do you give people loyalty tests before they protect an individual?
Coming weeks.
All right, and what will the committee's report have to say about why the assets like National Guard weren't prepped and ready? Is there a testimony already gathered on Speaker Pelosi's decisions or the Sergeant of Arms in the House and Senate on that regard?
Good.
Yeah, we have an entire team. We've got 5 different teams in the investigation. One of them is totally focused on all of those issues of security at the Capitol and the response of the Capitol Police.
Fantastic.
The response of the National Guard.
This is first that I've heard of this, so this is really, really good.
The response of the Capitol Police Board, what was going on at the Pentagon that day. So it's an entire focus of the investigation. You will see in our report, you will likely see in upcoming hearings. And so it's...
I hope they do a hearing just on that in September. And say, did Nancy Pelosi ever turn down the Guard? Because she did not. Did Trump, in this meeting that everyone talks to, did Trump say, get them 20,000 National Guard? And is there a paper record of that? Is that a thing? And I'm really surprised that we have, because I know that they've been asking. Pat Cipollone, for example, has been asked, hey, in that meeting, did he say we need 10,000 troops? Mark Esper, etc. The people that were there in the room where it happened have been asked this question. We're not seeing it for whatever reason.
Certainly something that we're going to be very focused on. But what we aren't going to do, Brett, is blame the Capitol Police, blame those in law enforcement for Donald Trump's armed mob that he sent to the Capitol.
Okay. But
I think clearly there were intelligence failures. Clearly there were intelligence failures. Clearly the security should have operated better than it did. But this was a mob Donald Trump sent to the Capitol, and I think that's important to keep our eye on.
There are several witnesses who say they met with President Trump on January 4th, and he offered some 20,000 National Guardsmen to protect the Capitol building on January 6th, but the offer was rejected. Is that true? Do you know that to be true?
Well, his own acting Secretary of Defense says that's not true. Chris Miller has testified publicly that Donald Trump never issued any order to deploy the Guard to protect the Capitol. And so I would point people to his own Secretary of Defense's public testimony. And we also know that on...
hey, is Seymour watching right now? I just, after looking at Stephanie's PayPal donation, I see that Seymour B. Moore, sent in a very large donation on the 21st, which I missed. So thank you very much for that donation. Guys, if Seymour's not in here, next time we see Seymour, remind me to thank Seymour.
On January 6th, while the attack was underway, Donald Trump did not place a single phone call to anyone at the Pentagon. He didn't place a single phone call to anyone at the Justice Department to say deploy law enforcement. Mm-hmm. He didn't place a single phone call to anybody at the Department of Homeland Security. And so the notion that somehow he issued an order is not consistent with the facts.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll listen to what comes out of the hearing, but you know the critics of the January 6th committee say it's a show trial. You know, how do you respond to that? They list these things. They say it's produced by television professionals who clearly lean left. It airs in prime time.
Hold on just a second. I'm sorry. I have to... The AC feels like it's blowing hot air on me. I just have to reach up. No? That's cold air. I'm just hot under the collar. Sorry, folks. Back at it.
There's no opportunity for the target to defend or put forth a defense. There's no cross-examination of witnesses, a duty deeply ingrained, they say, in American notions of due process. They say House rules require an aiming for a ranking member to be put forward by the minority. They have a problem with the fact that you are that ranking member, even though you were selected by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So how do you
Well, you know what? She's going to explain this, I'm sure, but it's nonsense.
Respond to that criticism?
Well, I think it's important to remember the facts. And the first fact is that we all supported a bipartisan outside commission. Kevin McCarthy himself said on the floor of the House we needed a bipartisan outside commission to investigate this attack. And then after he negotiated with the Democrats and got all of the terms he wanted, he pulled the rug out from under the Republicans who were supporting it and made sure that it was defeated in the Senate. And so then once the bipartisan outside commission was defeated, the only alternative left to us was this committee. And after Kevin McCarthy named his members to the committee and Speaker Pelosi rejected 2 of them, Jim Jordan and Jim Banks, for good reason, I supported her decision to do that, Kevin McCarthy withdrew all of his other nominees. And so the notion now that somehow the committee is incapable of getting to the facts of what happened because Kevin McCarthy withdrew his nominees is nonsensical. It also is a diversion. And I point out again, nearly every single one of our witnesses has been a Republican. You know, Rusty Bowers, Brad Raffensperger,
No, I
Gabe
understand.
Sterling,
We have the list.
Bill Barr.
All of whom would vote for, first off, Brett, let her list the people. Because maybe the people that you have watching your show are not watching it because Fox News did not show the last primetime hearing. By the way, it's a hearing, not a trial.
Right, but it's an important...
So that's, if I was on the committee, first off, I'd be addressed as Congress Kevin. I'm very specific. And if not, I would tell them they were being rude. I would be addressed as Congress Kevin Williams, and then I would respond. I would just say, right, let's stop with one, just go one at a time here. What's the first one? That it's a trial without, it's a meaningless trial, it's a show trial. Okay, well, it's not a trial. Who said it was a trial? Why? Who said that? No, who's saying it's a trial? Because it's not a trial. So you're going to bring in devil's advocate? Okay, tell me the devil's name, and I'll address them specifically.
Cross-examination is an important thing in committee hearings, right?
Brett, right. That's right. But I would also point out that I think it is highly unlikely, and I think you would agree, that any of those witnesses' testimony would be any different had the questioning been different. And it would be a dereliction of our duty to be in a position where, because Kevin McCarthy decided to withdraw nominees, and he decided to do that, I'm quite confident, because Donald Trump told him to. Because Kevin McCarthy decided not to participate in the committee, that somehow the House of Representatives cannot investigate the single worst attack on the United States Capitol since the War of 1812.
Right.
And it is all...
A War of 1812. One of the best wars of all time. So Cujo says there are many movies made to portray certain presidents' time in office. Can you imagine the movie that will come out after this? And what would they call it? America's Disgrace? I think American Carnage is a good name. Unprecedented, what I thought was a great name for a biography of Trump's time in office, or a historical document, a memoir, if you will. And it's taken now by Discovery Plus. Discovery Plus has the show Unprecedented, which I believe is 3 episodes. Part of the footage has been seen by the January 6th committee. Well worth it. You can get Discovery Plus for free for a week, and you can watch all 3 of those episodes. Also, a friend of mine, Kelly Moore, is in a show called High Design, where they take weed shops and they flip them by renovating them. They don't flip them. They don't sell them to other people. That's not the right word. They upgrade them. They fix them. They make them nice. Well, we've seen like Restaurant Impossible or Bar Impossible or whatever, where they take something, a failing business, and they renovate it and make it nice and open and cheery and open concept and stuff. So yeah, American Carnage, which is what Trump said in his inaugural speech, I think would be a wonderful title for the movie. Who would play Trump? Remember there was that James Comey show on HBO, and the person who played Trump escapes me at the moment. But who would you get to play Trump for a movie? Because this is not just an auxiliary role. This is the starring role in the movie. Who plays Trump? Who plays all the characters? I'm sure someone has done this before. I'm sure there's a, who plays Ivanka, who plays et cetera, et cetera. Ivanka, I would definitely want, forget her name now, but Julie. Now that I'm saying Julie, I've even forgotten the name of the character. Hold on, we're gonna look it up. Let's look up who will. Let's see. Ozark cast. You guys, as soon as I say Ozark, yeah, Julia Gardner. That's why I couldn't remember it. I would love for her to play Ivanka, and I would love for her to use the accent she uses in Ozark, and then every once in a while mix it with the accent that she uses in Inventing Anna. Pa. Is it because you're poor? Let's see her with long blonde hair. Anyway, here we go. Inventing Anna. Yeah, that's Ivanka right there. And then you would have her like walk around on stilts, but show the stilts in the shot. Just a cluster. And Trump would be wearing clown makeup at all times. Like I would, if I was the makeup artist doing that show, I would be, oh yeah, get me that burnt umber. We are doing it up. And just like massive gaps. So one of the things I liked about WRKAB in Cincinnati, first off, wonderfully funny show. Secondly, one of Les Nessman's character quirks was that in every episode, Les Nessman is wearing what? Somebody will know this. In every episode of WKRP in Cincinnati, Les Nessman has on a... Cujo, you're close without knowing it. A Band-Aid. I knew Marcy would know this. Correct. Thank you, judges. Yeah, every episode, Les Nessman is wearing a Band-Aid somewhere. There's one episode where there's no Band-Aid. It became like a drinking game, but not a drinking game. There's one episode, there's no Band-Aid. And I was watching it at the time with friends or family, whatever it was. And we're like, but where's the Band-Aid? Where's the Band-Aid? Very last scene, credits about to roll. He turns around and walks away. Band-Aid. Right there. Yeah, you guys can see that. I love that show. I love that show. Hold on. Let's see if anybody has it actually captured on... let's see. Baby, if you've ever wondered. Les Nessman. Of course, the turkey is classic. Let's see. Les Nessman Band-Aid. And turkey drop. The finest hour of that show was the turkey drop. As God is my witness. Oh God, Les Nessman on black music. We can't watch that. We cannot watch that. This is before rap too. There's nothing here specifically on Band-Aids, although it did come up in the search. So, a disappointment. What a terrible day. Let's get back to Liz Cheney.
Also a diversion from what we know. The facts are indisputable that while the Capitol was being attacked by a mob sent by Donald Trump, armed, Donald Trump would not tell them to go home for over 187.
I don't care. I just want to watch the turkey episode. Like sacks of wet cement. The show is WKRP in Cincinnati. And I don't know if it's out there anywhere. It's got to be on Netflix or something, is it not? Because it is a comedy classic. So many fantastic performances in that show. And Les Nessman, who played Les Nessman? Hold on, let me see who.
Arthur.
We can't watch it. Hold on, who was Les Nessman? It is, yes, I know it's a fiction. Richard Sanders. Let's look up Richard Sanders here and see if he's... you see him like in Murder, She Wrote or other things like that. Let's do movies and TV shows. Movies and TV shows. Oh, there was a new WKRP in Cincinnati from 91 to 93. And do I remember that? I think I do. and one of the cast members was missing. The Beans of Lover's Lane, Neon City. Let's look up the IMDb because they tend to be pretty good about putting this stuff up front. So known for WKRP, Men of Honor, Day of the Tentacle. So he did a lot of voiceover work. He just did something in 2006. He's not gone, is he? Hold on. Born. See full bio. Okay. In Harrisburg, he is an actor and writer. Okay, so apparently not gone. Married to Marilyn Marco Sanders. We have a picture of Marilyn. We don't. She has herself... Oh, she was a script supervisor for Family Ties, for Brothers, for WKRP in Cincinnati. He married the script supervisor from WKRP. I don't know if they were married before or after the series or during. I don't know, but that's a wonderful love story. Because he does seem like the kind of guy that once you got to know him, then you would fall in love. I don't think anybody falls in love with Les Nessman right off the bat. Who knows? Maybe Sarah did. I don't know. But I love it. Let's see if there's any actual pictures of him. I don't know why I'm going down this rabbit hole. I love frickin' Les Nessman. What was his name? Richard Sanders? Come on. Yeah. Richard? Nope. Do it up here. Give me a second. Richard Sanders and wife. And do we have images? And who is Richard Sanders dating? Who's dated who? .com. There he is. There he is doing like a parade. He's got a turkey in his hand. I love that. Oh, and he's in Cincinnati. Oh, that's fantastic. But it's seen on Kentucky.com. Okay, I have to dig down that. He's from Pennsylvania. And okay, what is this picture right here? Kentucky.com, where it's just copy and pasted in here. There's no outside information, unfortunately. I want to see why this was on Kentucky.com. Do we have a picture of him and the wife? Google has not found them yet, so good for them. Hi, Ann. Hi, Phil. What were we doing anyway? We're talking about WKRP in Cincinnati because it is a red letter Cincinnati day. There was an Inside the Park Grand Slam yesterday in professional baseball. We can't watch it. I want to see what happened, but if you get a chance, do look that up. Because Inside the Park Grand Slam, that doesn't happen. So it's got to be something interesting. David Mickelson, where are you? Are you watching right now? If you're here, hold on. I'll send him a little video here. Do you have a link to the Inside Park home run? I'll make David do the work. He's probably out gallivanting around with his lady friend.
Minutes. That is a dereliction of duty like we have never seen before. You've said the single most important thing is protecting the nation from Donald Trump. You are in a tough
When you've got people in the press room saying, hey, you got to say something, you got to make it stop, and for 3 hours or 187 minutes, you do nothing? That is the biggest dereliction of duty in presidential history, bar none.
Primary in Wyoming against Trump-backed Harriet Hageman. The recent polls show her up by more than 20 points.
So disgusting, Republicans. Come on.
Lose. Do you see that as an indictment on your battle against Trump?
Look, I am working hard to earn every single vote, but I will tell.
Hi, JoJo.
Tell you, Brett, that
JoJo's got big, exciting news, but maybe I don't know if she wants to tell you. But maybe she'll tell you at the next movie night.
Given the choice between maintaining my seat in the House of Representatives on the one hand, or ensuring the survival of our constitutional republic and ensuring the American people know the truth about Donald Trump, I will choose the Constitution and the truth every day of the week and twice on Sunday. We have a fundamental obligation and oath that I and my colleagues took under God to the Constitution, that is the single most important obligation we have when faced with the threat that Donald Trump presents.
Why is it always Sunday that you're doing things twice? Sunday's a day of relaxation. You would think like Tuesday would be the... Because Monday, you just gotta get back into the work week. And then Tuesday, you know what? Let's get this out of the way. I will do it twice on Tuesday. I will do it every day of the week, even on the weekends. I'll do it twice on Tuesday. Hump Day's right in the middle there. Get it done there. I don't know. It's just my 5 cents worth. I know it used to be 2 cents. Thanks a lot, Biden.
Here's how the AP writes it today. As the primary day approaches, there is also a pervasive belief among Cheney's team that her unorthodox strategy in
Take a drink, Phil.
2022 may put her in a stronger position for the 2024 presidential contest. Cheney's fierce anti-Trump message as vice chairman of the Congressional Committee investigating the insurrection has strengthened her national brand while expanding a national network of donors and Trump critics in both parties who could boost a prospective White House run.
Last time I looked, or last time I heard about it, can I please do Jello Head? If I can find it. No, Jello Head was something else. I don't know that I have Jello Head anymore. Let's find out. Hold on, kids. We've got a special request coming in from Steph here. Let's, was it this software? Maybe. Let's find out. See if Jello Head still exists. No. No. I like that one, though. That's kind of cool. There we go. There's Jello Head. We love it. Jello Head it is. Moving on. Last time I looked, Liz Cheney had outraised funds over her closest competitor, something like 10-1. It was ridiculous because people from all around the country, including Democrats, are contributing to her and her run for the office. It'll be interesting to see. That's probably the race I will be watching most in November.
Is that the strategy? Or are you expecting to lose?
Is it Shark Week? Should I be Shark right now? Well, somebody mentioned Jello Head first. What are you going to do?
Are you going to run for president?
Look, my focus, Brett, is absolutely on doing what is right. And that is what's guided me ever since last election and in the lead up to the objections in the House and the work that I did to help to make sure that my colleagues understood that.
Stephanie, you missed out on an opportunity there. He can do the shark. That's Finn. See? Because can you see? Look up there. Look over to my sides. You guys see those? Those are my fins. This thing back here, that's not my fin. See that? That's a tail. That's a tail.
That we could not overturn an election in the House on January 6th. It's guided me at every moment since then, and it's guided my work on this committee. And look, it's not just me that is saying that Donald Trump is unfit for office. It's other entities owned by Rupert Murdoch. It's the New York Post in their editorial on Friday. It's the Wall Street Journal.
What? The Post had an editorial saying that Trump is unfit for office? What?
Said the same thing after our hearing on Thursday night. So I'm going to continue to be guided by making sure I do my duty and
duty. Drink up, Phil. Duty.
Making sure that the American people understand the truth.
Last thing.
You don't see the shark drinking because I'm in water all the time. So technically, I have to keep drinking or I drown. Drinking through my gills is how I get my oxygen.
Do you share the concerns of some of your colleagues and others in the Republican Party about the Biden family's dealings in China, the flow of money from the Beijing government linked officials to the Bidens?
Yeah, I certainly think that it could be of concern. I think that it's not something that I have looked at the details of. I've certainly seen the news reports of it, but I think that it's important for any president, no matter the party, to make sure that there's not even the appearance of any sort of a conflict. And so I think that on both sides, we really need to be in a position where we gain back the credibility of the American people, where we step back from the edge of the toxicity and the vitriolic battles that are going on. If there is something substantive on either side that Congress needs to be looking at, we should certainly do that. And I think that has to be guided by substance and not by political attack. I mean, I was really disgusted, frankly, on Thursday night when even before Sarah Matthews began testifying, the House Republicans put out a tweet attacking her that they then had to take down. She's a staffer. Oh,
what did they say? Anyone have any idea? We can look that up quickly here. More Richard Sanders, please. House Republicans attack Sarah Matthews. Delete. Okay. Deletes tweet attacking Sarah Matthews. That's a great way to get attention for your tweet, by the way. Okay, so somebody is spamming us. Let's just get rid of that. Boop, boop, boop. Hide user. Remove moderator. Wait, this is a moderator? Okay, here we go. Okay, that's hidden. The Hill, here we go. So they put out a tweet. Okay, so I'm looking for. They don't have an actual picture of it. Okay, so the House Republicans put out a tweet during the committee meetings. Just another liar and pawn in Pelosi's witch hunt, and they retweeted a tweet from Sarah Matthews on January 20th, 2021, thanking former President Trump and former Vice President Mike Pence for their service and saying that it was an honor to serve in their administration. The tweet was quickly deleted. Okay, a House GOP spokesperson said the tweet was sent out at the staff level and was not authorized or the position of the conference and therefore was deleted. How do you send out a tweet at staff level? That's not a thing. Garnered public blowback and criticism. Alyssa Farah Griffin, former White House Strategic Communication Director, took aim at House GOP Chair Elise Stefanik. Yeah, it's Elise Stefanik's account, basically. Rep. Stefanik, a woman I once admired, is allowing the official House GOP account to be used to defame a fellow Republican woman for bravely testifying before Congress under oath. Shameful. Glad the tweet was taken down, she added later. Here's more.
Works for the House Republicans, for a House Republican. That kind of just launching of vitriolic partisan attacks is really dangerous for the country given where we are today. So we've got to investigate anything that seems like there's concern, and I do have concern about the issues that you've raised, but we need to do it with responsibility on both sides and with a commitment to the facts.
Congressman, thanks for joining us today.
Wouldn't it be great if there was responsibility on many sides? On many sides. Let's see, is there anybody else here on the Fox's Newses that we need to be watching? There's Mike Pence giving a rally, a bunch of talking heads, Newt Gingrich. We can skip that. I can tell you that right now. Okay, oh, what's this? Oh, there's their panel again. So panel, and they're done. This is the New York Times article. I will show it to you. Give me one moment, please. Here we go. So this is in the New York Post. This is the Rupert Murdoch version of the New York Times, the sensationalist paper in New York.
And if you broke the law, you can't say that.
There's about a minute here that they're showing on their editorial. This is from the Post editorial board. That is the byline. They're not saying who it is, but the board in general. These are their thoughts.
Broke the law. You can't say that. I'm not going. I already said you will pay. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defied the seat of justice. It's defiled, right?
Justice.
I can't see it very well. Okay, I'll do this.
But can see all the other words.
So I'm going to do this. Let's go. But this election is now over. Congress has certified the results. I don't want to say the election's over. I just want to say Congress has certified the results without...
Which ends the election, that's how it works. That's how the Constitution says it works. That is the last step. The election is over. I don't want to say election's over. I don't want to say that.
Say the election's over, okay?
Wow. Okay?
Congress is certain. Now Congress is
Yeah, right.
Now Congress
I didn't say over, so let me see. Go.
I didn't say over. It's like a walkie-talkie. When you're done, you say over. Election is certified, over. But I don't want to say the election is over. It's confusing. The election is, and then they're going to think, am I just saying the election is, and I'm done, and it's your turn to talk? It's very confusing. I don't want to use the word over.
Go to the paragraph before.
So that's what they chose to show at the beginning of the article. Now it's pulling up something else. I'm curious as to what. Honey Boo Boo star Alana Thompson to undergo weight surgery. Thanks. See that? That's the New York Post. That is the New York Post I know. So their article, as his followers stormed the Capitol, calling for his vice president to be hanged, President Donald Trump sat in his private dining room. Drink up for those who can't see me. Some good water. Drink up, Phil. Sat in his private dining room watching TV doing nothing for 3 hours, 7 minutes. There has been much debate over whether Trump's rally speech on January 6, 2021 constituted incitement. That's somewhat of a red herring. What matters more, and has been crystal clear in recent days, is that Trump didn't lift a finger to stop the violence that followed. It's working. The January 6 hearings are working. And they'll change nothing, but they're working. You know what it did? It just changed the New York Post editorial board. That's impressive. Let's go down to say, so we'll jump down here. Wow, that is like the shortest editorial. All right, get your heads together, everybody. Our job is to write an editorial of 200 words or less. It's got to fit down one side. We want 500 words, but we know you put a picture of some flakes. We'll fill in the page. It's more about CarMax. And then also about Jennifer Lopez, and then we'll get back to Honey Boo Boo coverage. That's not even a New York accent. It's J. Jonah Jameson. We'll leave it at that. Parker! Trump only wanted one thing during this infamous afternoon: to pressure Vice President Mike Pence to decertify the election of Joe Biden. He thought the violence of his loyal followers could make Pence crack or delay the vote altogether. There's no other explanation, just as there is no defense for his refusal to stop the violence. It's up to the Justice Department to decide if this is a crime, but as a matter of principle, as a matter of character, Trump has proven himself unworthy to be the country's chief executive again. Holy shinola, kids! That's the New York Post! By the way, this isn't the first time that the New York Post has defiled Trump. I couldn't read it. I couldn't see it. You couldn't see me banging my hands on the podium like Trump did either when he got defiled wrong. That's just, when you're a shark, you have to use your brain waves. That's why there's waves in the ocean. It's caused by sharks. It's all our brain waves being shot up there, up to the surface. You can see it up there. The brain waves hit the surface, and then they ebb and flow. There's so many of us thinking down here that it creates chaos in the ocean, and the top of the ocean gets waves. That's why they're called brain waves. It's true. Judges agree. The judges agree with everything I say when I'm a shark, because they are fearful. I mean, they respect me. They respect the shark. Speaking of respect, I gotta find what all you kids are here for today. I know what it is. Get rid of that. Nobody wants to see my kitty porn. There we go. We need to go find... should we do Fox and Friends next from this morning? Or should we go right to Kevin McCarthy? I'll let you guys choose. You guys are on a 3-second delay. There's no excuse for the delay that's happening right now with you. I'm letting you guys choose. Should we go to Maria Bartiromo with Kevin McCarthy, or should we go to Fox and Friends next? Word salad, Kevin McCarthy it is. I mean, theoretically, that answer, it's the same for both. You're really playing the middle right there. But yeah, let's go to Kevin McCarthy. I'm going to take that as a Kevin McCarthy. Okay, Sunday morning futures. Da 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 da. McCarthy, everyone's voting for McCarthy. Let's see. I saw him here, so he should be somewhere here. Where is he? Is he on? Come on, don't do this to me.
And
he's got to be on here. I saw him.
If we made more...
Oh, Ro Khanna. That's a Democrat. A Democrat on Sunday Morning Futures. That's impressive. Mo has his own ideas, though, and he's a little more liberal, but he's willing to talk to anybody. I thought Kevin McCarthy was on this morning. Did I catch a glimpse of another show, a previous show? Come on. Ah, there he is. I'm so happy. Who's that good boy? Who's that good boy? It's not you. You're not the goods. Here we go.
Making borrowing more expensive on top of inflation at 40-year highs. In Washington, it is the final week in session before the August recess, as Democrat lawmakers are still trying to push through more spending and higher taxes. Joining me right now with a look at what gets done in the week ahead and beyond, with now 107 days before the midterm elections, is GOP leader, California Congressman Kevin McCarthy. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
It's Congressperson Maria.
Thanks for having me back on the show, Maria.
Now, for those of you just joining us for the first time or watching for the first time later in the day or the year, we like watching Kevin McCarthy because, as far as I know, he only speaks English, but he can't. And what he says makes very, very little sense. And what he says is almost universally wrong.
Before we get into the week ahead and your thoughts...
Boy, Maria just rolled out of bed.
...on where we are and what's most important to the American people, your reaction to what you just heard from your...
You know what? Which is fine. She's a woman. I don't usually comment on women's looks unless they can be classified at... Oh, God. Wow, did I pause it at the wrong spot? You know what? Just delete the last 15 seconds of this video and let's move on.
Colleague Ro Khanna with regard to this climate change emergency that he's calling for.
Well, this is the problem with Washington, the problem with Democrats. The thing Ro Khanna did not tell you, he said he was opposed to sending oil to China. He voted against the ability to stop that just last week.
No, he didn't. That wasn't what the bill said.
Ro Khanna was the one individual, when he had an ability to ask a question to all the CEOs from the energy companies.
He asked them if they would pledge to drill less. Yeah, eventually. Yeah, and that's what we need to do. As a country, we need to stop being dependent on oil, and that includes our oil and foreign oil. It's bad. It's causing global climate change. That we know that. But yeah, let's see if that's where he's going with this.
You know what he asked them last year?
Yes,
he asked them if they would promise to produce less oil. So if you want your gasoline...
Let's just fact check on that, because you guys should know this too. So Mo's kind of... Like, Mo will say, like, there's a whole bunch of things that Biden can do to reduce the price of gas. Yeah, are there, Mo? Mo Khanna... wait a sec. I'm getting his name wrong, aren't I? Let's go back a little sec here and see if I can... It's Ro Khanna. That's what it is. Mo. Where... I wish I could jump back and forth in here without... Hold on. Ro... And I want to say there's an H in there, too. There is. Ro Khanna, thank you. Oil execs. Oversight Committee, big oil exec. It's 8 months ago. Let's watch this. And this is posted by Ro Khanna himself. So he's perfectly happy with this being seen out there. It's 21 minutes.
They chose to lie under oath.
And they did. You know what? We'll save all of this for another day. That is Reuters. Let's see what they have.
Hyundai Palisade versus Toyota Highlander. Hyundai Palisade.
Here we go.
This isn't about partisanship. This is about getting at the truth. Today, the CEOs of the largest oil companies in the world have a choice. You can either come clean, admit your misrepresentations and ongoing inconsistencies, and stop supporting climate disinformation, or you can sit there in front of the American public and lie under oath.
Congressperson, we'll take lying, please.
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
This hearing will show that your actions continue to be inconsistent with the climate goals you now espouse. I wish they were consistent. My goal, honestly, is not to embarrass you. It's not to have a gotcha moment. That doesn't help any of us. You actually have a moment to shine today. You could commit to changing course and taking actions that would avert a climate catastrophe. Or you could continue to deny and deceive out of a sense of institutional loyalty to your company's past.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it here. They use it. They use the clip all the time in right-wing circles. But that's what he was saying here. Let's see. That's a long clip. Okay, asking him to reject disinformation on climate change. Or not. This is 1 minute long when it finally gets here. And this is from Reuters. But, okay, so all of the oil companies came to this hearing. We're like, oh, yeah, we want to reduce greenhouse gases. Oh, yeah, totally. That's what we're doing. We have a goal by the year 2035 to reduce the da-da-da-da-da, all of this. And Ro Khanna's point was, okay, but you keep drilling a whole bunch of the bad stuff. I like that you want to get involved in solar. I like that you want to do more natural gas compared to oil. We need to transition through all of that. So will you commit here today to reducing the amount? Okay, so, and this doesn't want to play. Come on. You're not helping the broadcast, YouTube. Well, just play. You're right there. It's 1 minute long. Just do it. Just do it. Kids. All right, well, okay, back to Kevin then. Yeah, no, YouTube's broken. Let's go back to Kevin.
Price high, that's exactly what he was requesting of them to do, putting them on the spot. So when he talks about going to this Green New Deal, he's picking one part over another.
He didn't talk about going to the Green New Deal. I guarantee it.
And that's the problem, and that's what the Biden administration and the Democrats are doing. We've got an energy emergency right now. We need to be...
Okay, so talking about a climate energy emergency, but we don't. It's an energy emergency. Because gas, by the way, is coming down. I just paid a little over $5 a gallon in California. Gas has plummeted around me. It was up near $7. It's come down almost $2 near me. That's pretty good.
Producing more American energy.
Okay, I paid with an ARCO card that I got because my daughter donated blood.
Not less, but that's what they have been working time and again.
What? That's what they have been working time and again? What does that even mean? I understand the expression he's going for here.
One part over another. And that's the problem, and that's what the Biden administration and the Democrats are doing. We've got an energy emergency right now. We need to be producing more American energy, not less, but that's what they have been working time and again.
Yeah, that's what they have been working time and again. The not less energy. That's what they have been working time and again, guys. Time and again.
Yeah, I did try to make that point, but, you know, when you look at all of these issues...
What point? That the Democrats have been working time and again? What point did you try to make? Because I don't know what point he was trying to make. And I guess you didn't make that point.
Issues out there today. You can understand why President Biden's ratings are at all-time lows. Only 31% of the American people think he's doing a good job.
Cujo says up in Canada, $1.70 a liter. It was $2.20 last week. So that's a significant reduction within a week's time. And it should fall down quite a bit more because the price of the barrel of oil has gone down 20%. Fuel prices are only come down about 10% so far. But last week it was a pretty significant fall, at least locally, and apparently in Ontario. And this is per liter, so you got to times that by 4 to get per gallon, and then you got to do the conversion. There are, in $1 American dollar, there are 14 Canadian dollars, I think, and they're metric dollars, so it's a different standard.
With inflation at 40-year highs and...
Kevin McCarthy is my favorite politician, said no one ever. That's from Trial Balloon in the chat room. If you want to join the chat room, feel free. If you're watching this live, then just type wherever you are in whatever chat you can, and it'll show up on our screen. It conflagrates all of it together and then turns it into smashed potatoes over there on the screen. And I'm indicating with my fin. It's over there. You guys can't see that though. If you're watching this delayed and you'd like to participate live in chat, then what you do is you subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/KevinlyFather, and subscribe and click the little bell so that you get notified when we do this again. And we welcome your chat.
The wide open border, there is a lot to complain about.
There's no wide open border,
Congressman, and yet why aren't...
By the way, as I pointed out a couple of weeks ago, Trump has now claiming that he finished the wall, that he got it done. The wall's complete. If the wall is complete, why do we have the record migration? I guess the wall doesn't work. But yeah, now he's claiming, after claiming that it was almost done, that it would have been 5 more weeks we could have had, that it became 3 weeks, then it became 2 weeks, then it became almost, we were almost done. It cost more not to finish it. Now he's claiming we actually finished it. And next week, he'll be claiming that Obama built it before he even got there.
The Republicans doing better. Look at these numbers that...
Tom says $1.99 a liter here, which is $8 per gallon. Where are you, Tom?
We have for expectations in the congressional races, now 107 days away, and you're talking about a dead heat. What is wrong with the Republicans?
But you guys deal with the real gallons, right? Not the U.S. gallons. So it's a different equation. A liter is still a liter. But I'm thinking whereabouts in Ireland, though. But yes, your liter is still the same as a Canadian liter. Liters, that's a beautiful thing about metric. It's the same everywhere. An empirical gallon is different than a U.S. gallon. That's how screwed up the U.S. is. They can't even get the old standard correct. The standard nobody uses anymore. But for the sake of the argument, because, Tom, does anybody actually use either gallons? It's liters and kiloliters, right? Nobody does gallons of any kind over in Ireland anymore, yeah?
That you cannot capitalize on such a moment in time where virtually everything is going wrong.
Well, let's look at what reality, Maria.
What? Let's look at what?
Now 107 days away, and you're talking about a dead heat. What is wrong with the Republicans that you cannot capitalize?
What is wrong with the Republicans?
On such a moment in time where virtually everything is going wrong.
Yeah, Tom says it's all metric. They have different gallons over there. They have the original gallons. The same with tons and metric tons. I kind of get metric tons. You know what we should do? We should have tons, because tons is a great expression. Tons and tons of whatever it is.
Well, let's look at what reality, Maria.
Hi, Cindy.
Majorities are not given. They are.
I missed it again. I'm sorry, guys.
And you're talking about a dead heat. What is wrong with the Republicans that you cannot capitalize on such a moment in time where virtually everything is going wrong?
Well, let's look at what reality, Maria. Majorities are not given. They are.
I can't even, the words he's saying won't go into my head so that I can repeat them. I can't. Well, let's look at.
Are earned. But that is a poll. But let's look at what happened just in the last month.
That is a poll. That is a poll. That is absolutely correct, Kevin McCarthy. Kevin got something right. Hey, everybody. Kevin got something right. He said that is a poll. And that's a fully formed sentence. Yay!
Month. Republicans just won a seat that was 84% Hispanic, the second most Hispanic seat in the country. That Biden just won a year and a half ago by 13 points, and Obama won by 22. The last time a Republican...
I don't know how they do closed captioning for him. Let's go back and see what the closed caption people thought that was. Here we go. What's wrong with Republicans?
What's wrong with the Republicans that you cannot capitalize on such a moment in time where virtually everything is going wrong?
Well, let's look at what reality, Maria. Majorities are not given. They are earned. But that is a poll. But let's look at what happened just in the last month.
Okay, so the closed caption said what he tried to say, but not what he said. So let's look at reality, Maria, is what closed captions got on that. But that's not what he said.
Republicans just won a seat that was 84% Hispanic, the second most Hispanic seat in the country. That Biden just won a year and a half ago by 13 points, and Obama won by 22. The last time a Republican held this seat was more than 100 years ago. Mayra Flores has never run before, but she's a member of the U.S. Congress right now, and it's along the border. So Republicans are doing quite well.
The district is along the border. The U.S. Congress is not along the border.
And I think when the American public sees the commitment to America, it is a plan of...
Oh, yeah, they've got themselves a contract with America right now. They're calling it Commitment to America.
New direction to put America back on track. What the Democrats have done by creating inflation, the pain,
Yeah, by creating inflation, the pain. The Democrats didn't actually create inflation. The concept of inflation has been around, since the dawn of money.
Points that you put up there, but put it in perspective. If a person is paid on a salary, they have just lost...
That's so many P's in one sentence. He's about to say that if a person is paid in salary, they've lost a whole month, even though inflation's only gone up by 9%.
Lost an entire month of work for free.
It's actually, it's more than that. But they've lost an entire month of work for free. Like, usually you have to pay to lose a month of work, but they've lost it for free. Again, he's trying to say they've worked for free for a month.
Back on track. What the Democrats have done by creating inflation, the pain, just the points that you put up there, but put it in perspective. If a person is paid on a salary, they have just lost an entire month of work for free.
They've lost an entire month of work for free. Look, I lose entire months of work all the time for free, Kevin.
Because of the Biden administration. The border? That's a national security crisis, and they've done nothing but make it worse. Then when you look at the crime within our streets, you look what happened to Lee Zeldin, that's a...
I don't know where else the crime would be. Like in our fields? Yeah, Lee Zeldin was attacked with a keychain. Granted, it was a hard plastic keychain. And he wasn't attacked. First off, I'm not condoning what the guy did at all. Should be in jail. This whole no cashless bail, it's nonsense. Knock it off. Nobody wants this. But the guy got on stage, crazy person. He's obviously a danger to himself and others. But Lee Zeldin's playing it off like he just about got stabbed to death. The guy had a keychain, a plastic keychain.
Direct effect of what the Democratic...
It was within our streets? Is that what he said?
Policies are. There is going to be an opportunity in 107 days to change the course of history, a new direction, as we say in a commitment to America, where we'll become energy independent.
It's all about the commitment to America.
Go ahead.
Yep. What are you going to do about this crime? You mentioned Lee Zeldin. This is a really important point that you make, Congressman, because the attacker was back on the streets within a few hours before getting rearrested because of the
He was released by the state and then arrested on federal crimes. You can't attack a U.S. congressman. That is a federal crime. So the federal government came in and said, no. You're going to be charged federally. Get back in jail. Good.
No cash bail laws in New York. Can you do anything to actually pivot here on crime? You're seeing crime spike across the country in all big cities.
Yeah, so Lee Zeldin said he went for his throat. There's another angle of this where very clearly the crazy man tries to grab the mic. He's not actually, he doesn't take a swing at him, he doesn't punch at him, he's not stabbing him with his little keychain on his fingers. I shouldn't say little keychain, I don't want to belittle it. It's an assault. And the guy should be in jail, and the guy needs to go to a mental asylum, because that's just crazy. Do not do this. But if you watch it again here, and I'm sorry for having to listen to her again, but watch, he's just reaching up to try and take the microphone. He doesn't actually threaten Lee Zeldin there. It's all very threatening. But he doesn't make an action here to threaten Lee Zeldin. And then immediately people started yelling, he's got a gun, he's got a gun.
On the streets within a few hours before getting rearrested because of the no cash bail laws in New York. Can you do anything to actually pivot here on crime? You're seeing crime spike across the country in all big cities. And by the way, those cities and states...
And Lee held him off. Lee grabbed his wrist and held him off, and then people helped out. And good for them. Good for him. This one guy down here, he jumped up from the front row. So good for them.
Are run by Democrats. The media seems to be ignoring.
And Lee goes down because he's holding on to the guy's wrist. He doesn't know that it's a plastic Kitty keychain. He just sees it as a threat, and he holds onto his arm so that the guy can't do anything with what he thinks are daggers coming out of the guy's, like brass knuckles or something like that. So good for Lee Zeldin in that one.
That incumbent New York Governor Kathy Hochul's campaign actually urged supporters to go to the Zeldin events and agitate.
Exactly. It's the Democrat DAs they've elected. It's to defund the police. But what can the federal government do? Well, we provide a lot of cop grants. But if we are in the majority, the cop grants we send to these communities would put one perspective on there. We would say you can't.
One perspective? That's not the word he's trying to use. And now that he's used that word is, I can't even... What? See? It's not a perspective, Kevin. What, guys, what is he trying to say? I've been Kevined out here. I don't know, maybe it's Kevins are contagious to each other or whatever it is. It's a contingency, but that's not the word he's trying to use. What is the word he's trying... Anyway, let's go back and...
Tape.
Exactly. It's the Democrat DAs they've elected. It's to defund the police. But what can the federal government do? Well, we provide a lot of cop grants. But if we are in the majority, the cop grants we send to these communities would put one perspective on there. We would say you cannot have them unless your DA upholds the law. If it's picking and choosing, if it's...
Yeah, so that is the law. So that particular perspective, and you can't tell with my fins, I'm making air quotes, or I guess I can't make air quotes underwater. I'm making liquid quotes. Condition, sure. Condition works better. Contingency, condition, perspective is not what he's looking for.
Doing this cashless bail, you cannot get it. It's the exact same thing that Ronald Reagan did when he raised the drinking age from 18 to 21. We can utilize...
No, that's not what he did. When Ronald Reagan wanted to raise the drinking age to 21, he said, you guys don't have to... idiots, no. It's a highway safety issue. And it's, Reagan's done it. Reagan did it. It was done when we wanted to reduce the speed limit to 55. It's been done throughout history where we say, look, if you don't have to do it, but if you don't do it, you're not getting the funds to build the highways. And the federal government, you'll drive by a highway and it'll say, cooperative taxes, federal government 90% paid for the highway, local, state government 10%, 2% from your city, whatever it is. That cities don't really pay for highways, but you know what I'm saying. The federal government is the bulk of the funding. So there have been contingencies or conditions or perspectives throughout history where you do that. And that's one thing that they could do. They could give cop grants and say, this is... God, what is the word? This is contingent upon you not having cashless bail? But that would be completely useless because cop grants and money for DAs are two completely different pots.
That as well. We can make this country energy independent and lower the gas price. We can make sure that our borders are secure and stop fentanyl from moving across. But the one thing I really looked at from the Democrats, they have created all these problems. But one of the other bigger problems...
They didn't create fentanyl.
Is they have no plan to solve it. We're only here for one more week, and they have no plan coming before us but to spend more money. And it's not just Republicans warned about that American Rescue Plan. Steve...
What? It's not just the Republicans warn about the American Rescue Plan. Okay, warning us, maybe?
Ratner, a Democrat, he calls it the original sin of where inflation began. Larry Summers warned him before they passed it. This is the Secretary of the Treasury, a Democrat. They all knew what they were going to do, and now they try to deny it. And remember, that pill passed with not one Republican vote.
I hate it when pills pass. I want the pill to be absorbed in my body, not pass right through.
And it's not just the issues around bad policy. There's also corruption in plain sight. Why is it...
Are we talking about Hunter Biden now? God, I hope we're talking about Hunter Biden.
...that Nancy Pelosi's husband...
Oh, we're talking about Nancy Pelosi, this doctor. By the way, the reason that I don't care for Nancy Pelosi is because of her and her husband's profiting from stocks that were directly controlled by legislation that Pelosi was responsible for passing or not passing, or even putting up to against a vote or not. Which is why in 2012, after 60 Minutes did an expose on both Republicans and Democrats taking advantage of their positions to make millions of dollars, that's why the Stock Act was passed in 2012, because they were finally called to the carpet on it.
Keeps getting so quote-unquote lucky by buying companies that are getting impacted by the legislation that Nancy Pelosi is directing. Okay, now we understand that Paul Pelosi bought shares in NVIDIA. This is a chip company, and he did it right before a congressional vote on related chip subsidy legislation. The legislation I was just talking about with Ro Khanna.
But this was publicly available knowledge.
Here is how she answered when reporters asked her about this consistent buying of individual stocks by Paul Pelosi. Watch.
Okay, so this question was posed to Nancy Pelosi, and then the right wing went nuts. Nancy Pelosi storms off after reporters' question involving her husband cheating in stocks. What? You tell me if she storms off. Now, reading the headline, I was like, oh my God, what, does she just like turn around, ignore the question? What? No. She answers.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he received from you?
No, absolutely not. Okay.
Okay. And she walks off. That's her story. That's Nancy Pelosi storming off. She touched the microphone. No, absolutely not. Okay. Nancy Pelosi storms off stage, shuts down reporters' questions after. And this was after, of course, she'd spent some time answering reporters' questions. Anytime I see storms off, I know it's nonsense. Unless it's Trump. Then he does storm off.
She said absolutely not, Kevin. McCarthy, we're supposed to just buy that and forget the whole thing?
Oh, thank God. Because when she said Kevin, I thought she might be referring to me. And I was about to answer. And then she said Kevin McCarthy. I was like, watch. Because if you're Kevin, you'll understand. Watch.
Over the course of your career, has your husband ever made a stock purchase or sale based on information he received from you?
No.
I refuse to answer that question.
Okay.
We're done here.
She said absolutely not, Kevin. McCarthy, we're supposed to just buy that and forget the whole thing?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this isn't the first time Paul has done this. And it's not that he's buying stock. He's buying calls and puts. He's buying options. And
yeah, that's part of buying stocks. That's playing the market. And that's okay. We don't even know if this is a blind trust or not, by the way. I mean, I don't know that. And so when I say we, I'm using the royal we.
The one person that controls the whole House, can determine what bill comes out of committee, what bill comes to the floor, is the Speaker of the House.
Right, but what about the pills that passed?
And Paul Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi.
There's a lot of peas. He's having a lot of peas going on today, and I think that's why they call it pills.
Pelosi made $5 million.
Perhaps he hasn't taken his.
$1 million the last time this happened. And it was about technology and what we were going to bring forward. And you know what he made?
Okay, I'll allow it.
$5 million? This is why they don't care about inflation. What bill comes to the floor is the Speaker of the House. And Paul Pelosi and Nancy Pelosi made $5 million the last time this happened. And it was about technology and what we were going to bring forward. And you know what he made $5 million? This is why they don't care about inflation. Because the American family has lost $3,400 because of their policies. It's costing them more than $500 a month. It's like a new car payment, but not giving them the car. And
that's not a new car payment. Trust me. I'm shopping for cars. What the hell happened?
What bill comes out of committee, what bill comes to the floor is the...
I don't know why it went back like that. Yeah, I'm buying a new car right now. Good luck. Good luck getting yourself a new car for $500 a month, buddy.
The Speaker of the House.
I blame Paul Pelosi. In fact, Paul being arrested and charged with drunk driving, that car should be confiscated, and I'll be happy to drive up north and pick it up if you're watching.
And Paul Pelosi and Nancy...
Actually, I bet he doesn't drive an electric car.
Pelosi made $5 million the last time this happened. And it was about technology and what we were going to bring forward. And you know what he made $5 million? This is why they don't care about inflation. Because the American family has lost $3,400.
And you know what he made $5 million? This is why they don't care about inflation. What? Are you going to... I want an answer to the question.
because of their policies. It's costing them more than $500 a month. It's like a new car payment, but not giving them the car. And look at the way Nancy Pelosi looked at them.
Or just like taking $500 from them. You could just say that. $500 worth of groceries you're not getting? $500 of McDonald's, but you can't eat it? It's like having your cake, but you...
Never. And he did it again. In the commitment to America, when we look forward, I've promised as we move forward, we will change the ability for this. We will bring trust back to Congress. And we will not allow the idea that a Speaker of the House can have them trading in options.
We will not allow the idea that a Speaker of the House can have them trading in... okay, I got to see what the CC says about this. Oh, come back. Okay, now we got to go back on this one because I'm not even sure what...
Commitment to America. When we look forward, I've promised as we move forward, we will change the ability for this. We will bring trust back to Congress. And we will not allow the idea that a Speaker of the House can have them trading in options.
I mean, it's extraordinary. Real quick before you go, I got to squeeze in Taiwan because you actually met with...
Okay, so again, the closed captioning is correcting him.
The Taiwanese ambassador earlier this week. What did you learn about the China threat? And I thought it was really interesting that the CCP threatens Nancy Pelosi not to go to Taiwan, and then Joe Biden backs them up. Says the military doesn't think it's a good idea for Pelosi to travel to Taiwan. Are you getting any pushback because you met with the ambassador?
Well, President Biden sounds like the commissioner of the NBA. He just folds to whatever China wants instead of standing up for America. We met with Taiwan. Why did we meet with the ambassador of Taiwan? Because there's one thing we have learned. A military makes you strong, but dependency makes you weak. And look what happened in Ukraine. The actions of President Biden was always too slow. Had he provided weapons...
The actions was always too slow.
...weapons ahead of time that would have deterred Russia from entering. He's delaying weapons...
Ukraine has had plenty of weapons
from being sent to Taiwan. Let Taiwan defend themselves. Let's make sure China does not invade Taiwan. And let's not allow China to dictate where any American citizen goes to meet any others. If that is the case...
Right, but they're not. That's a decision on the part of Pelosi and the White House.
Yeah.
Should we dictate that China should not be coming to America or to other countries?
Well, China can't come to America. It's a country.
As well.
Wow.
And in terms of Chinese citizens, yes, we do that all the time. If you're persona non grata, you can't come to the country, Kevin. That's modus operandi for all countries. Yeah. All right, guys, should we take a quick peek into Fox and Friends Sunday, or should we wrap up the broadcast? Yours call. I'll pull up Fox and Friends Sunday, see if anybody wants to hang around. We've been broadcasting for an hour and a half already. Friends Sunday, the best day of the week because you can do things twice quite easily.
President Biden did the same thing.
And we wish.
Okay.
The strongest term.
So they do. They usually do their anthem thing. Oh, here we go. Here's the stage. All right, here we go. This is the Lee Zeldin incident.
Gubernatorial candidate and current Congressman Lee Zeldin.
Like, yeah, thanks for the circle, because I couldn't tell what was going... Where do I focus? On the two guys on the screen, or should I be focusing on this guy's butt, or maybe the woman sitting on the ground with the bored kid? Thank you, Fox.
He was attacked on stage at one of his campaign stops last night. You can see the man jumping up on stage while Zeldin was speaking, had the microphone in his hand. Police say that he approaches, he begins swinging his sharp weapon, some sort of a sharp weapon, towards Zeldin's neck.
It's a plastic keychain, but it is a weapon, right? So this, by the way, a plastic Hello Kitty keychain. It's not Hello Kitty. It's just Kitty. I think it's called My Kitty. The plastic My Kitty keychain. I'll pull it up for you, just so we all know what we're talking about here. My Kitty keychain. It is a weapon of defense. Here it is, right here. My Kitty personal keychain. It's from eCrater. There it is, right there. It's plastic, and you wear it on your fingers. You slide two fingers through here, and then you use it as a stabbing implement, I guess. And you can get it in pink or blue. Would have been way better in pink. This is a nice soft pink. This is more of a fuchsia. Let's see. Super strong ABS plastic. Great hot organizer. Or great key organizer. What a great key organizer. Look, you can put your keys on a ring. Holy crap, guys. I know what I'm using my PayPal for. Let's see if there's any other. Yeah, no, you can get metal versions of that. Those can certainly be lethal. And maybe the plastic ones can too. So it's My Security Home Security Superstore, self-defense keychain weapon. It's made in the USA. It's very stiff and strong. It can deliver devastating strikes. So it is a weapon. But anyway, that's what we're talking about here. Now, it is a weapon. But for some reason, Republicans keep saying over and over again that nobody had weapons at the Capitol. We know that's not true now. But that narrative is still prevalent out there in the right-wing circles.
And that terrifying moment, as you can see, was caught on camera.
So I don't know why there's no audio on this, because someone is screaming, he's got a gun, he's got a gun.
Yep, that's it.
You can see here, he's, I'll zoom in for you. He goes to grab the microphone. There's a better video than this out there as well.
Right there. Meanwhile, the Monroe County, New York Sheriff's Office says the suspected attacker was taken into custody and has been charged with second-degree attempted assault. Congressman Zeldin says he was able to grab the...
Oh, he's got a little cut on his ear, too. Yeah, no, he should be in jail. He should be in a mental asylum.
The man's wrist and hold him off until others could jump in and tackle him. And later, he was zip-tied by people in the crowd. The congressman...
Because, you know, you carry zip ties with you.
Said, quote, I'm as resolute as ever to do my part to make New York safe again. This suspect will likely be right back out on the street immediately.
And he is?
He is. That's exactly what happened. The suspect was released on his own recognizance.
All right, meanwhile...
And then arrested again by the federal authorities.
Zeldin's opponent this fall, incumbent Governor Kathy Hochul, tweeting this out, relieved to hear that Congressman Zeldin was not injured.
Good. All right.
And the suspect is in custody.
Nope.
Not anymore. At the time when she tweeted, I condemn this violent behavior with the strongest terms possible. It has no place in New York.
Good. Good. That's a good tweet. Solid tweet. I like it.
Ashley Strohmeyer spoke with eyewitness Cody Crippen, who caught the shocking moment on camera. He says it could have been much worse.
Just the right people were there. A lot of people reacted very quickly and prevented the situation from getting worse, because it very easily could. I mean, he was so close.
So he's sitting on the floor in front of his fridge for the interview. How messy is his apartment? Nice fridge, by the way.
To the guy, and just poking at somebody with a weapon like that, it's never a good thing. So I think it could have gone horribly wrong.
Fortunately, no one was injured. They were able to wrestle the guy to the ground.
Right.
The thing is, they were dressing an AMVETS group, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and they were talking about bail reform.
That is not the group you want to cause a ruckus in. Veterans? No. Because you're going to have, like, out of an audience of 300, you've got 296 guys that will jump you.
And the good news is a lot of those men and women are trained to act in times of crises, so they were the perfect people at the perfect time to be there.
Is it crises? Is it just times of crisis, right? The times is the plural.
Yeah. Evidently, the device he used is something I haven't seen. It looks like a circular, they call it a self-defense keychain that is, it's got sharp objects at the end, so it could have done some damage. And I do look like to me...
brass knuckles with those pointy things.
Well,
on
yeah, it looked to me that Zeldin really didn't know what to make of it. As the attacker got on stage, he was right next to him, and then lunged for him. It was just an odd series of events.
Yeah, I saw in the Daily Mail. If we could put that up again, that's the actual blade. Daily Mail.
It's not a blade, but yeah, you can poke somebody with that.
Described it as like brass knuckles. Not exactly. It's a blade in the shape of a cat.
It's not a blade.
And as you can see, you could probably put 2 fingers in where the cat eyes are.
And your pinky where the nose is. Or you can stick your tongue through there. Oh my God, how cute.
And that would create obviously a very dangerous weapon. Also, according to the local papers up there, the Iraq War veteran who allegedly assaulted the congressman was reportedly under the influence, which makes it even more curious why he would be immediately released upon his own recognizance.
Yeah, well, Joe Chinelli.
Well, probably because the judge said what? It was a what? It was a My Kitty keychain? Okay, so we'll set a court date. Don't leave town.
He is the AMVET's national director. He's also running for New York State Assembly, which was the reason he was there supporting Lee Zeldin. And he said that he was the one, you can see him on the back of the stage standing in front of Lee Zeldin, and then he goes in and he helps to hold the suspect down, and they zip tied him, and then the sheriff's department came and took him away.
There's the AMVET guy jumping up on stage right there.
Yeah, exactly. So he says he noticed that the guy was a vet because his clothing indicated that. And then he said he found out he had served in the Iraq War and he was suffering from a mental health crisis. And he said that he told the guy, you're going to have to pay for this. But as a vet advocate, he said he told him that he's going to get him the help that he needs. He was on Fox and Friends First earlier. Listen.
I stepped up onto the stage, saw the attacker try to get into Zeldin's face and then swing, and I could see what looked like a razor knife of some sort at the congressman. Saw him block that swing, and then as he attempted another swing, I tackled the attacker.
It wasn't a swing. He was reaching for the mic. But, you know, doesn't matter. At the time, it certainly was perceived as a swing, and it certainly was perceived as a razor at the time. And what they did was very brave.
From the back and slammed him to the ground, where several of us were able to restrain him, get the weapon away from him, and eventually turn him over to police when they arrived. It was clear, you know,
really surprising there weren't any police or some kind of security staff there.
Some time with just general.
Cujo says, I was going to the beach with my friend on Friday and we passed a moose crossing sign. Jokingly, I said to her, why don't they move the sign so the moose can cross where it's not so busy? Smart. I don't know why they don't do that.
On the ground last night, and he was not in a good place. I'm very concerned.
Yeah, I mean, too, you should be concerned. Also, I think people should be concerned, too, that this guy's out. Meanwhile, Nick Langworthy, who's the GOP chair, is actually running for office, too. He said Kathy Hochul fanned the flames of hate by directing her supporters to his rally schedule. It's unacceptable conduct for anyone, let alone a sitting governor. It's not enough to condemn the attack. She should apologize and tone down her hateful rhetoric immediately.
Yeah, because if you...
Posting I'm with Bernie Sanders. Don't go to somebody else's rally. If you don't agree with them, don't go heckle them. Let them have their free speech. That's fine. So no, but I don't know that you owe anybody an apology for posting. And I don't know whether that was done or not. Things like this happen all the time where people say, "Oh yeah, she was posting the rally information." It turns out no, she does.
Read her Twitter page. It seems like she's being very compassionate. She's wishing
Zeldin
the best. She's condemning this violent behavior.
As
but then we learn that she released his rally schedule to all of her supporters, indicating go to his rallies.
Yeah, RSVP.
Exactly.
She's worried about him.
And do what? Go to his rallies and do what?
No doubt about it. Ashley Strohmeyer's got the other big story. Not only you're covering this, Ashley, you're covering when the president really dominated our afternoon when he tested positive for the latest, for COVID-19. We actually don't even know the variant he has.
Right, and despite a runny nose, fatigue, and the occasional dry cough, President Biden released a video just hours after testing positive, saying he is hanging in there and staying busy. Take a listen.
Hey folks, guess you heard this morning I tested positive for COVID, but I'm doing well. I'm getting a lot of work done. I'm going to continue to get it done, and in the meantime, thanks for your concern and keep the faith. It's going to be okay.
The White House says the 79-year-old president is now isolating and zooming into meetings. The diagnosis comes after Biden received the vaccine and 2 booster shots last year. The head of the White House COVID response team acknowledged the president was administered the antiviral Paxlovid.
Emergency use
Cool.
Authorization for patients who are at high risk for progression to severe disease. Is the president at high risk for progression to severe disease?
Yeah, he's 79 years old. Of course he is.
I believe anybody over the age of 50 is eligible for.
Yeah, 50. Did you hear that at random? You should have been given Paxlovid.
For Paxlovid, the president is above the age of 50.
Okay, so a timeline of the president's schedule leading up to his diagnosis shows several high-profile contacts, including Saudi royals, members of the Gulf Cooperation Council, and the First Lady of Ukraine. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris is being considered a close contact, but the White House says no changes are being made to her schedule as she tested negative yesterday. Back to you guys.
All right, Ashley, thank you very much. One other thing, after he came back from Saudi Arabia, the president did go to church at the Catholic Church in Georgetown. Keep in mind the general incubation period.
Wait. They didn't tweet about that? They didn't publicize on the Instagram or something? The White House didn't put it out as a press release that he went to church? Why is that? Oh, he goes to church every Sunday? Oh, the godless one. The godless baby killer. He goes to church every single Sunday. A Catholic church, you say? I'm sure Trump was in church this morning as well. I'm sure that's the case.
For this particular strain of...
And I'm sure he wasn't wearing golf shoes in church again. I'm sure he learned his lesson.
Omicron is 3 to 4 days. So it could have been church, it could have been Saudi Arabia, it could have been Israel.
Well, according to the press secretary, it doesn't matter how she got it. It doesn't matter how he got it.
Well, he, thank you. His pronouns are he, him, not she.
They're not all those years of contact tracing. Doesn't matter how he got.
Well, not now anyway. Okay, that we're all back to normal. We're all meeting people and doing things. How would you know? He's the president. He's literally traveled to 3 continents in the last week. How are you going to contact trace that?
Stop asking those questions. Idiotic answer.
Well, Dr. Marty McCary...
No, it's really not. What's the alternative? How are you going to do it?
Reacted to this. Listen.
Severity of COVID, even though it's a virus with the same name as the more dangerous virus from 2 years ago and a year and a half ago, it's behaving much differently because...
That Fred Armisen is just so versatile. Give him a character. He'll play it. He's got it down.
His population immunity is high right now. I agree the president's going to be okay, and I agree the president should continue to work remotely as he is. But right now...
Not me. I get the COVID. I don't care if it's a runny nose, if it's asymptomatic. I'm lying in bed watching Netflix. I got so many shows to catch up on.
The White House is making a mockery of the same contact tracing policy that they are still imposing on school children and everyday Americans. The White House is basically acknowledging that it really is not effective, and that's true.
How are everyday Americans having contact tracing imposed upon them? At Random's being shadow banned or something right now. We can't see her. But has anyone gotten COVID lately and had contact tracing imposed upon them?
Contact tracing is not effective once a virus is ubiquitous and at large and inevitable.
Right.
So the president has contracted COVID 1 year after declaring America independent from COVID.
Yeah, a little bit later.
We wish him the best.
We absolutely wish him the best.
Quick recovery.
But it's just amazing how different the coverage is for President Trump as President Biden.
Yeah, you're true.
Right, well, that was before vaccines, and President Trump took a helicopter to a hospital!
Blaming President Trump for everything. How dare he not wear a mask on the veranda? Meanwhile, where was he yesterday when he gives his address, not wearing a mask? So it's going to be interesting.
Right, with the cameraman a good distance from him. I didn't say that Trump should have been wearing a mask on the veranda, by the way. What he should have been doing when he walked out of the hallway was wear a mask, because there were people near him then. And the Secret Service, yeah, that's right, Stephanie. The Secret Service had to take him around the hospital in his SUV, if you guys remember that, where he waved at his fans. Why isn't Biden doing that? Where's the joyride?
Mask up and tell all these other people to contact trace and tell other kids to stay out of school when the press secretary says it doesn't even matter how the president got it.
Well, he's under the best care. He is taking that Paxlovid, which is an antiviral med, and he had to stop his Eliquis and his Crestor for cholesterol and his blood thinner.
Right, and
yeah, because those can react with the Paxlovid. So, sure. Hi, Plagued.
There's some concern because, remember, back in 1988, he had a couple of brain aneurysms, presumably caused.
Yeah, that's when he was in his early 70s.
By blood clots, Eliquis, blood clots. There's a lot of worry about that. So anyway,
no one's really worried about not missing your Eliquis for a week while you take your Paxlovid. I'm not a doctor. I'm a shark. What do I know? But I don't know that a whole bunch of people are worried about that.
Doctors are trying to figure out the calculation. Maybe they're giving him a little bit of something, but he should not take Crestor and he should not take
He can take a baby aspirin.
All right, 11 minutes now after the hour, still ahead. New York City's mayor calls 2 Republican governors cowards and accuses them of busing illegal immigrants out of their states to his. Hear their fiery response.
Plus, Bidenomics as the White House celebrates a slight drop in gas prices.
It's not a slight drop. It's more than 10%. It's probably 15% locally here in LA. Again, I just put gas in the car today. I do have one gas vehicle still. Looking at another vehicle, there's no cars. There are cars. I'll tell you about my situation another time. But it's a very good situation. Basically, the local air quality management district is going to give me $9,500 for my old gas car, which is fantastic. I just wish it was $9,500 when the price of all the cars wasn't $30,000 more than it should be. I've been looking. They are selling 2012 Chevy Volts for $25,000. Those cars should be 10 to 15 grand at most. It is ridiculous, but there's a chip shortage. Why is there a chip shortage? Biden? No. Biden doesn't eat that many chips. It's not his thing. It's COVID. COVID is the culprit. Supply and demand. And nowhere is that more apparent than in the used car market or the bacon market, apparently. Because every time they talk about inflation, bacon.
The supply.
Plagued by Society says, yeah, my friend is currently shopping for a car, and it's been a nightmare. Her last car was totaled. Oh, she's in a rough spot then. But there are cars out there. There are, by the way. You want a deal? All kinds of deals on SUVs that take gasoline. And that'll change. As gasoline comes down, people will start buying the SUVs again, and et cetera, et cetera. And I do not understand why so many Republicans on Twitter just freaking hate electric cars. How dare they?
Supply chain crisis is about to get worse. You're not going to...
Yeah, Plagued is correct here. Her friend thinks they are charging $10,000 more for the cars with good gas mileage. She's right. They are.
Believe this. How a trucker strike could leave shiploads of goods
stranded
in the Pacific.
Oh, that would be a load of shit if that happens. They better not. Give the truckers what they want. Whoever's in charge of the truckers. They're already getting screwed, and they have to be truckers. Take care of the truckers, people. Nobody in a diner. We're not seeing any diner stuff here. Is there anything worth watching out of the... let's see. I'm just cruising through here, seeing if there's anybody interesting on or any more information, news we can lose. There's Geraldo, but he's been making sense lately, so that's not even interesting. Okay, here's Dr. Person Woman Man Camera TV. Let's see what he has to say about Biden's COVID.
Okay. Well, President Biden there on the Truman balcony yesterday afternoon saying he's doing well after testing positive earlier in the day for COVID.
The White House says he's only experiencing mild symptoms and is continuing to work from the residence.
Is that a smart move? Let's ask the doctor. Dr. Mark.
It is, yes. But let's ask the doctor. Dr. Person, Woman, Man, Camera, TV, why don't you tell us?
Siegel, doctor, if you have mild symptoms, should he be working today?
Yeah, should he be working?
Well, Brian, it wouldn't be.
Dr. Scarf did recently have an interview where she wasn't wearing a scarf. Therefore, it wasn't her. Don't fall for the fake news, Steph.
What I would suggest to my patients, and it's not what I suggest, and I want to make a point here that I don't think we focused enough on, which is, yes, he's got mild symptoms. And yes, he's got upper respiratory congestion and cough, which is very common.
Yeah.
And yes, I do think that the vaccine, 4 shots, played a role in the decreased symptoms. And I think Omicron itself is much milder and is generally upper respiratory, which is a big positive for the United States. And yes, I think the
BA5 is proving to be lower lungs, which is dangerous, like Delta.
Drug Paxlovid is very, very helpful in this situation, and I prescribe it a lot, and it decreases the risk of severity and hospitalization a lot.
Yes.
But you know what isn't being focused on, Brian?
What?
The concern about fatigue and possibility of brain fog. Now, I see a lot of that in my patients, and it may be very minor, but you're talking about the President of the United States.
Right. So where was this concern for brain fog when Trump was with COVID?
Here, right? So if he has any confusion whatsoever, even the fatigue as a symptom is something that I think his physician should be keeping a careful eye on, and might be a reason that he shouldn't be working. And by the way,
okay. How do you know that the physician at the White House isn't keeping an eye on that? Very likely is, if not derelict in duty.
Is his physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor. Dr. Ashish Jha, who I know well, is an epidemiologist.
He should have been out there yesterday.
Hey,
Dr. Connor should have been out there.
Dr. Siegel, what about him not taking Eliquis, the blood thinner, because he has had the brain aneurysms in the past?
Yeah, you know, Ainsley, that's a really good point, and I was surprised at that because a lot of doctors, a lot of cardiologists would have cut the dose, would have adjusted it. He has atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular heart rhythm. It puts him at risk for heart events or stroke, but holding it for 5 to 8 days is a very, very minor risk, but I was surprised at that too. I would have, in most cases...
It's a very, very minor risk. Much less of a risk than being on multiple blood thinners that can react with Paxlovid. From what I understand, again, Shark, not a doctor.
You would try to continue it at least at a lower dose most of the time.
Well, he's got some of the best doctors in the world, and one of our...
And you have Dr. Person, Woman, Man, Camera, TV.
Our great doctors offering advice as well. Mark Siegel, thank you very much.
Okay, that's the end of Mark Siegel. And that's the end of the broadcast, kids. Everybody have a wonderful day. Be good to yourselves, be good to others, and most importantly, be good to sharks.